Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's programmed right into us. But what if we flip the whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our mind, our finances, our relationships, and of course, our lives. Let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is my life partner, Minna.
We're into March.
Oh my gosh, it is March. It's March 1st, right?
It
Yeah.
is. So I'm finally not going to say Happy New Year. So that's over. But what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about resilience.
So what exactly is resilience?
I think resilience depends on. I didn't even look up what what Dr. Google says, but from my understanding, it's sort of like the ability to withstand and recover from psychological stress over time.
Physiological stress.
Physio-
Physiological
physiological stress.
So the topic comes up because there is an update on our Oura rings, and this we use this to track a lot of our metrics. So they have an actually new feature called resilience, and it actually tracks our resilience throughout the day. So how did you do today?
Mine's. I'm going to show mine because mine is better than yours. So it's actually really cool, Aura tracks like a whole bunch of stuff, readiness and everything, but they do have something called resilience
Resilience tab.
right there. And I am solid, meaning I have low stress and I have pretty good recovery. So pretty good, and if you look at the trend, it's like almost like a flat line. So I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So why do you think we're getting stressed all the time?
It's funny. I met quite a few people this week over coffee. Maybe we're getting stressed because we're not drinking enough coffee or too much coffee, but that's not where I'm getting at this. I think we're getting stressed all the time because we are just bombarded with so much information nowadays in all directions. You're getting it from the TV, you're getting it from the radio. If anyone listens to the radio anymore, you're getting it from your TikTok, your Facebook, your Instagram. And it was really funny because he was asking me, when it comes down to health, he said, like, there's so much information out there. I'm stressed out. It's like, I don't know what I should be doing. Andy, how do you weed out all that information? And, it became a pretty long talk, which don't think I can finish here in like 5-10 minutes. But it's very interesting. I think we are just getting so stressed out because there's so much information out there, and then you start wondering, oh, are they talking about me?
Well, that's one thing. And I think in terms of stress, um, there's different areas of life, right? There's your finances, there's your relationships, there's your education or your relationships or with your friends, whatever. So there's different areas in life that there's always one or two areas that you're not doing as well in. It could be your health, or it could be your finances. And that is always the area that stresses you the most.
I agree. I agree. And, I think there's three top ones that you want to talk about today, right?
So I was reading something, I don't remember what it is, but I kind of can relate to it because it's the three lies that keep you overwhelmed and stressed all the time. And that I feel like that actually applies to pretty much everybody I know. So the first one is that if I'm not constantly hustling, that means I'm lazy. Right?
I must be lazy. It's funny, we have a friend that's visiting from California, one of my best friends, and we're just talking about it. And he's from California, and he was saying, "So, what's the biggest difference that you found between California life and Texas life?" And my answer, literally, I didn't even see, what you were talking about today. I was saying, I don't need to hustle anymore, right? I don't need to go from job to job to job, chasing the Joneses just to get ahead because I felt that I was lazy. I felt everyone else was doing more than me, and I just had to continuously hustle to be with the crowd. And now we don't need to do that.
Yeah, so that feels like something that the people around you is doing. So you feel like you're obligated to hustle. Whereas your priority should be on your rest and recovery and how do you maximize your day? How do you be more productive? Not just to do more, but actually to produce more, right? And of course, you want to build in some playtime.
I agree. I think the playtime is so important, and the rest and recovery. You can't push harder if you're not rested, and I think that comes down to both mentally and physically.
For sure. And we took a trip to Merida, Mexico.
Yes.
And it was humbling in the sense that their life is so different. They don't hustle. I don't see anybody hustling the way that Americans do.
Correct.
Right? So they do know when to work, when they need to rest, when they need to spend time with family, when they need to go out and play. And I think that's important. That kind of balance is hard to achieve when you're surrounded by people that just constantly hustling. You're lazy, man.
Yeah.
Just keep working. That kind of environment, I'm done with that.
Yeah, you just basically burning the wick at both ends. But yeah, Merida was it was eye opening because it's like everything is so chill, but everyone's so happy, right? So definitely one of the things that we want to incorporate in our lives.
For sure. So the second line that I was referring to is that the more I work, the more money I'll make.
Oh, what a lie that was.
So it's not that, right? Because you've learned from Jim Rohn and all the other people that it's not how much you work, but how much value you add to your work or place or to your business. So it's not that you spend more time in it than you get more. Those people are called hourly wages, and that's what you are. Fine, but if you can add more value to it, then you get more money and more value.
I agree. Too many people give away their time for free, and it's such a shame because they got so much information. They are so talented in what they do, and they're not charging what they're worth. It's like you can get a lot more by working less, by delivering more when you deliver. I agree. That's a great topic there.
For sure. When as the way it applies to work is that you don't need to actually spend a lot of time working. You just need to be more productive and the things that you do well and cast out things that you don't do well and give it to somebody else.
Exactly. So what about the third lie?
So the third lie is that I have to do it all and be everywhere if I want to be successful.
Oh my gosh, that is
you.
That is me.
And to be fair, that's probably all the solo entrepreneurs in the world that they have to do everything for the business to work.
Exactly. And once again, that's funny you had it on there because I never read, what we're going to talk about because it's just so, that's just the way I like it. And we're just talking to our production managers like, hey, would it be cool if we give you a little bit more to do? Because sometimes, I just feel like I'm overwhelmed trying to get everything done. And to be honest, I forget, and, I don't want to look like I'm not capable of doing what I do, but sometimes we just forget to do things, or sometimes I forget to follow up. And it's so important to delegate to people that can actually do this better than you too, right?
You're sometimes not the best person to do it for sure.
Definitely not, so it's hard handling out the reins for my horse that, I think it's the winner, but hey, sometimes we just need to do that.
But let's talk about what chronic stress do to your body. Why do we keep talking about this?
Chronic stress is so important because like a lot of people think that you get sick from, being exposed to things or getting injured, but chronic stress, mental stress can actually cause the same problems inside your body. If the body cannot tell the difference between real stress and mental stress. So if you're thinking that you're sick, guess what? You're going to be sick, right? If you're stress out all the time, your heart rates elevate, guess what? You're not going to sleep properly, you're not going to get recovery, you're not going to get rested like Minna says, and then of course you can't play hard the next day because you're not recovered, right?
So how do you give me two things that would keep your resilience solid or better?
Two things that I do or two things that I recommend to people?
You recommend to people. Are they different?
Yeah, I think so. We do crazy things, right? So I think one of the things, and I think it's really beaten to death, exercise. Exercise is a great way to lower stress. And, I'm not talking about crazy exercise, even just movement, right? If you're going out for a walk, taking your dog for a walk, playing with your cats, playing with your dogs, right? Playing with your kids is all exercise, right? It's just movement of the body that really lowers stress.
Okay, what's the second one?
The second one is the one I have problems with is meditation, right? And a lot of people think meditation is a lot of oming and all that stuff. It really is trying to calm your mind. And for us, we listen to little short stories that calm us down. And, it's all about lowering down your heart rate and getting your mind to think of things that are less stressful.
Great. So we're going to go off and meditate a little bit, take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Christy with you.
We'll see you soon.
Hello. We are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years with energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids, the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 9%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Today, I am absolutely delighted to welcome back our guest, Shoshanna French. Once again, welcome back, Shoshanna.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the third time I've gotten to speak on this awesome show. I'm so excited to hang out with you again and talk about intuition.
Absolutely. Let me just introduce you again. Shoshanna French cultivates wildly successful leaders through the practical power of intuition. As the founder of Simple Spirit, a keynote speaker, and coach to NFL leaders, Broadway and television stars, million-dollar founders, CEOs, and business professionals, she generates unpredictable and profound results for her leaders who are looking to develop a deeper connection to their purpose. Her passion is teaching others how to leverage their intuition to create lasting change and impact in the most important areas of their lives. And I know we have plotted and schemed a little bit for today.
Yeah, we talked a bit about what could we teach people today that, I don't know, they could have some fun with their intuition, but also, get some guidance and insight about whatever area of life matters to them. When Andy and Mina were talking about chronic stress, and they were talking about, the three kind of lies that lead to this stress hanging out. And I was listening to that and thinking about how sometimes we approach resolving our stress from our logic. So we go, oh, well, I need to sleep more or I should exercise. It was kind of some of the suggestions that, Andy had. And sometimes we're doing all of those things and we're still stressed. And so, what I find, especially with the people I work with, when you start tapping into intuition, intuition can give you insight about things that your logic is not, helping you find. So, part of the opportunity for developing your intuition and a connection to your intuition is to become a more intuitive person. And I always like to say, because I think it's worthwhile, kind of like if you exercise once, that won't take care of your stress every day. It will just take care of your stress that one time, right? Meditating one time will be awesome for that one day, but anything you do incrementally over time will develop new abilities and will become a practice to a habit. And then, you will actually be able to manage your stress better. The same goes with intuition. So if you practice it regularly, use it on a daily basis, then it becomes less of a mystery and becomes more like a tool or like a skill that you can become better at.
Absolutely. That is so true. It's, you and I have talked a lot about the practical applications of intuition. I mean, you can go really woo if you want with it, and sometimes we do, but the practical applications are real. Like when you get that gut feeling, there's something off about that person right there. You should always listen to that because they might tell you whatever you want to hear, but something feels off, and that intuition doesn't lie to you.
No, it definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is that, it's not necessarily the thing we're going to be playing with today. We're going to be playing with psychic book messages, which I, for years, have tried to figure out a less woo way of talking about this tool, but I just like calling it that because it's kind of fun. And it's worth sharing the story, which is when I was a kid, I lived with my grandparents for quite a bit of time. And I would go down in the morning and my grandmother would be making her tea and like taking all of her, my grandma took a lot of vitamins and supplements when I was a kid, like before it was a thing. And she would have her Bible on the table. And every morning she would do a prayer and like ask God to guide her. And she'd open the Bible to some passage. And that passage would be her message from God. And I watched her do that. And then she had this little journal and she'd write notes. And when I learned about, intuition and tapping in, it always occurred to me like, oh, that's literally what my grandmother was doing. She was using her intuition to be guided to the insight that day, right? Like what message she needed to hear. And so over the years, as I've, taught people the really practical tools, this is a less practical tool. Here's why, because you have to have books. So you can't be sitting in your car and use this tool. You can't be sitting in like a business meeting and use this tool. This tool is amazing for like gathering insight, especially in places where you're like, I don't know, I'm so stuck. This is a great tool for those areas of life. We all have those like, I don't have any idea what I need to know, or I don't know what's going on there. So I am excited to teach you and everybody watching how to use this tool.
Well, I say we jump right in and have
All
some fun
right.
with it.
Well, so if you're watching this, two things. One, first, you want to think of an area of life, because we want to just start there. And then we're going to talk about the way that you can, word questions so that it works with how your intuition works. I think we talked about this last time, but always as a reminder, intuition is not logic and logic is not intuition. Right. So logic, when you are asking questions of logic, they're very like, tell me about this. Why is this happening? Because you are trying to solve a problem. But intuition has to be a broader question. So the very first thing that you want to do when you use this tool is choose which area of life you could really use some insight and guidance in. So I'll give everybody a moment. Christy, do you have an area of life that you could use some guidance in?
Definitely.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So then the thing that you want to do is you want to formulate a question that's pretty wide open. So this is not a yes no question. This is like an open-ended question, right? If I say, "What color is your phone?" That is not an open-ended question. If I say, "Why did you choose that phone?" That's open-ended. There's lots of things you could say about that, right? So now what you're going to do is formulate a question and then use psychic book messages. So can you tell me what area of life you're thinking about? And then I'll help you formulate a great question.
Okay, so I'm making a decision about moving. And it's a big one because we're considering moving out of the country. So that's a big decision.
It's a really big decision. Okay, good. I'm so glad I asked you because I would say just hearing that question, that depending on what it is that you're unsure about, that's a decision moment kind of thing. Decisions kind of questions are more yes and no kind of questions. So,
Mhm.
for example, if you needed to know insight about why are we reluctant to move, or what is my what could I learn or gain from moving? That would be a good psychic book message. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to share. So I'm actually writing a script for a production company, and we're going to shoot that movie in Mexico. And what I want to do is I want to go to Mexico and participate in that. And then the decision though is, should I just plan to move there, or is that the first step in a transitional kind of explore and find, like, then try maybe, I don't know, Panama or go to Europe? It's like, how do
Right.
I navigate that?
Okay,
So
got it.
yeah.
Well, and so of course, you came up with a totally complex. Okay, so the area of life is to me. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second and say this. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example of something that I use psychic book messages with. So, my nephew, when he was in high school, was having a really rough time, and we had done all the things we knew to do. We got him like a tutor. We had gotten him like a mentor, and none of it was actually making a bit of difference. He was still really in this really hard place. And so what I needed was insight about what was really going on over there. Because
Mm.
me just trying to listen and me asking him questions, he was kind of mute about how he was actually feeling. And so it helped me to just ask him, right? I just asked him, and then guess what? Nothing. No help at all, right? So I use psychic book messages to give me insight about what was actually happening inside of him that I couldn't see on my own. So for those of you that are watching, what is helpful, what psychic book messages are good, are for places where you need insight, not for places where you need help in making a decision.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if the area of life was work, let's say someone's watching and they're considering taking a new job, but they're not sure if they should take the job or not. I would say, I think on the very first episode I was ever on, we talked about body as a pendulum. Use that tool for decision making, right? And then the next time we talked, last episode, we talked about automatic writing.
Yes.
And that would be the tool I'd recommend for what you're dealing with. Because what
Okay.
you need to know is like information, right? You need kind of like very clear information about this choice that you have to help guide you in the choice. But the kind of questions or areas of life for psychic book messages are things that you need greater insight or understanding about, right? So it doesn't mean that what your future holds
Okay.
couldn't be delivered by or get an insight from psychic book messages. But if it's about should I move, should I not move? That part is more like a question for, decision. So my recommendation for you is more like, what kind of future do I want? What is it that I desire, right? What are things that would help me to know in making this decision? What can I know about myself? What can I better understand about the possible future I'm living into? Those are the kind of things that you could use psychic book messages for. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Well, I take care of my mom. And so one of the concerns is, can she handle it? She wants to go. She's
Yeah,
very motivated, but there's health issues involved.
right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Well, and
So,
again that question about what is there that I need to know about my mom moving? That's a good automatic writing question. But
okay, I'm in
right?
the.
No, this is good though. I love that you're doing this because anybody watching is like, oh, I thought I had a question too, but it's not the right question. So really like
Okay.
like, for example, we could ask this question, especially since we've been talking about how crazy this year before the show started, we were talking about just kind of like how intense energetically this year has been so far. So we could just use this opportunity to go, what is there that I need to know about the rest of the year? Like, how am I going to grow? What am I ready to heal? What am I ready to know? All of those kind of more open-ended questions. So anyone watching, you could totally use the same exact thing. What do I need to know about the rest of the year? How am I going to grow? What should I be focusing on? And then we're going to do the psychic book that way. So uh,
Okay.
I grabbed a few different books for our viewers about all different kinds of topics because I wanted to show that you can really use any kind of books, but the book should be specific to the area of life. So Andy asked me at the top of the show, can I use books that are like personal development or business development books? For certain, but I would only grab the business development books if you're asking a question about business. If you're asking a question about your physical health, choose books that are kind of specific to that, right? And if you're asking a question about this, growth is a pretty broad topic, right? It could be your spiritual growth, the growth of your mind, and the way that you view. So I would recommend for that question, I saw what books you have. So those are the perfect books for this particular question. But my recommendation is to choose no more than 3. And I like to do it like you're reading one message continuously. So I'm going to show you how to do it. And then
Okay.
we're going to have Christy actually do it live so that she can practice
Ooh.
it in front of everybody. Oh, does that make you nervous? Okay. So what you do is you take the book. This is one of the books I have. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. So I hold the question in my mind. What is there for me to know about my own journey and growth for the rest of the year? So I hold that question in my mind and then I just take the book, whoosh, just like my grandma did, and I look down to see, oh, that's interesting. See, I asked the question and then I got a message. That's how that works. So what's going to happen when you ask that question and you open the page, your eye is going to be drawn to one particular like sentence, one word, maybe the entire page. This is an intuitive process. So you're going to trust how it works for you. There's no wrong way to do this. I have found sometimes that I'll look at this and then I'll be like, oh no, it's the whole chapter. So I'll go back and reread the chapter in a book I own. I've also done this at a bookstore, by the way, which was really fun. So I asked that question, and the first thing I saw was cultivate your desire for others to discover the Tao in their life, which, given what I do, that's not terribly surprising. So that's really what I'm going to be focused on for the rest of the year in my own growth is the discovering of the Tao. Okay, so you have your question in mind?
Yes.
Is it
So I have to
helpful?
choose.
Write it down specifically so you don't have to think about it. Do you have like a little piece of paper to write it down on?
No.
Just repeat it out loud for me, and then I'll write it down.
Okay. I'm what is this year hold? This year hold for me?
What does this year hold? That's great.
For my highest and best growth, and yes,
highest and best. What does this year hold? How about what does this year hold for my growth and my highest and best? Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, here you go. So this is for you. Grab that first book. I'm going to read you the question and then let it fold open. What does this year hold for your growth in your highest and best good?
That's good. Do you want me to share the book?
Yes. What book are you looking at?
I'm looking at The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan
Very
Millman.
nice. Okay, good. So then when you're ready, take a deep breath. Okay, as always, y'all, when you use any intuitive tools, you need a moment to pause, see if you can clear your mind, open your heart, and trust the process. Okay, so go ahead when you're ready. Go ahead and open the book, and your eye will be drawn to something very specific.
Working in the positive, in a natural depth, charisma, and magnetism.
Well, so think about what you said about your mom, right? Like she wants to, but you're concerned about her health issues, right? But she's committed. So given what that book's about, it's about speaking in the affirmative.
Oh, okay.
You get that?
Yeah.
So it's one of the things that your year holds for your growth and in your highest and best is practicing speaking in the affirmative.
Okay.
As
that
a practice.
Makes sense.
It does,
Yes.
right? And that's kind of you anyway, but this is like, hey, Christy, pay attention, really speak in the affirmative, okay? All right, grab the next book. Show us what the next book is.
Okay. Whoop.
And I'm kind of remembering what the first message is, so I'll string them together for you, okay?
Okay.
Ooh, you can heal your life. Very nice.
My very, very old copy that's
really falling apart. You can't heal that book, but you can heal your life.
Yes. Okay. Same question?
Same question. So what does this year hold for your growth in your highest and best good?
Self-worth opens many doors.
Very nice. So what I would say is think about or reflect on, especially the area of life called this potential move and like what your future holds and what you're thinking about. Where is your self-worth being like a pain in your keister about trusting yourself?
That makes sense too.
And then how is it connected to that thing about affirmative speaking versus the opposite, which is like negative speak or like, you know, we're like doubting ourselves or not trusting our ability, right? Okay, very good. Next book. Here we go. Book number 3.
Book number 3 is Kuan Yin.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. What does this year, by the way, everyone watching, this is literally how I do it. I write a question down on a piece of paper and I read it again every time before I open the book. So that's the only thing that's present. Our mind wanders, so we don't want our mind to wander when we're opening the book. We only want the message related to the question we're asking. Okay, what does this year hold for my growth in my highest and best good?
Kuan Yin has placed her right hand on her left and carries the vase that holds the healing nectar of compassion.
Okay, so let's look at all 3 messages you got together, right? So one is about practicing the affirmative. Speak in the affirmative, knowing that speaking in the affirmative creates the world that you're stepping into. And then the second message was all about, self-worth and trusting yourself. And this third message is about healing nectar, right? So looking at all of those 3 together, what do you think they mean? What are they pointing to for your growth?
I feel that it's a shift in perspective and just like approaching things, if the negative comes in, shifting it into the positive, and then that feeling. I've actually been working a lot on deservingness, coming from an abuse background. Deservingness, like I deserve, that's a tough thing for a lot of people who have come from an abuse background, and then that will lead to the healing I'm seeking.
Yeah, and the growth. So as an intuitive, having witnessed you open all of those and receive those messages, what I can reflect for you is that sometimes the growth that we really want is really, really, really big, like dramatic. And sometimes it's just a shift in our experience, right? So this growth that you just saw is a change in perspective that in the beginning will probably be pretty subtle, but it will have a dramatic outcome, right? Because when you're trusting yourself and you're speaking in the affirmative, that is healing. And if we think about it from not just a woo perspective, I love the woo, and from a practical perspective, the way our brains are designed is that when you are speaking affirmatively about the thing that you want to believe or have happen, then you're speaking that. And it's not even just like some people think it's like fake it till you make it. Actually, no. Then every conversation you're having with people you've just met in Mexico, people you're talking to at your work, people at the grocery store, out of your mouth comes, I'm moving my mom and I out of the country. We don't totally know where yet, but we're pretty excited. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Where? And then all of a sudden you're dreaming and scheming and ideas. And they go, that's so interesting. Where? And you go, well, we're thinking about Mexico. And they go, oh my gosh, I lived in Mexico for 10 years. You're like, what? Right? We don't know when we're just speaking what is possible, who will show up, right? Because if we don't believe something possible, we would never talk about it.
Yes. Or if we believe we don't deserve the thing we want.
Right.
And
yes. And then we find ourselves saying something like, I hope we can, but it's going to be hard. Or I don't know if it's going to work. Right. And then we feed the self-doubt. So I want to review. This is so awesome what you just did. Good job, Christy. I always love when you just jump in and be a guinea pig. You're awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
So a reminder,
I have to say,
in using this tool, the total reminder. The tool is really, really good for insight or having deeper understanding in something. So what I always say is when it comes to intuition, choose the right tool for what you need. If you need to make a decision, don't use this tool because this tool will not help you make a decision. If though you need more information about something, this tool is not so great for that. This tool would be pretty confusing if you're looking for information. Automatic writing, that's the last episode that I was on. I don't remember the date, but that last episode I was on, that was what we talked about. I taught automatic writing.
And it's really cool.
It is so cool. And so is this one, right? So to go back to the story about my nephew, I pulled 3 books. And one of the things that I pulled was from this book. It's called Animals Speak. It's one of my favorite books. But I pulled and I opened and I turned to the wolf. And I was like, the wolf? Now, wolves are either pack animals, right? Or they lose their pack and then they're lone wolves. But lone wolves are less common. But this whole thing was about wolf behavior and about how, like, a hierarchy, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's what's happening for my nephew. Like, he doesn't know where he belongs. And it gave me this insight into how he was thinking. Like, he doesn't know where he fits. And so he's angry. And that's why he's silent. And so I recognize, like, oh, this is normal, right? It's normal to not know where you belong. But if I want to help him, what we have to help him do is figure out where he belongs. And so then it shifted our focus in communication. And instead of the mentor he had, we found a mentor that was actually more like him and who he was, racially speaking. And that made all the difference for him. It gave him some reflection of what it is to be a Black man, because nobody in our family is. And that helped him. It transformed his experience in high school. It was crazy, actually. And he graduated, which we did not think was going to happen. So it's hard to know when you use something simple like psychic book messages. Intuition can give you just so much insight, well beyond what you could even think is possible.
That is amazing. I have to say, I've got a flutter in my stomach, which I think at some point in my life I might have interpreted as fear, but now it feels like excitement. I feel more uplifted, like, this immediate feeling. And I that's one of the gifts. That's one of the beautiful gifts, is immediately feeling better and taking a breath and going, it's, now I can be open to being guided to where, like you said, where I need to go to make it let the pieces fall into place.
Well, and if what you know is that the growth that the year holds for you in your highest and best good is to recognize that when you speak what you truly, truly desire, right? That's the affirmative. And you allow yourself and recognize that if you say you want it, that you can have it, right? And you are willing to do the work to have it, then of course you would feel both excitement, but also probably a lot of relief.
Yes.
So this goes back to the original thing we were talking about, chronic stress. I think some of the reason that people are in chronic stress is because they're in an experience of feeling conflicted inside, right? Because you're very clear you want to move out of the country, but the conflict for you internally is, can my mom do it?
Yes.
So you were conflicted, right? But now what you feel is a clear alignment about something. And that removes the conflict, which removes the stress. So quite often we're like, I don't know. All of the analysis paralysis that we do to ourselves. I'm not saying that just because you're tapping into intuition. I'm a pro, been doing this for 29 years, and I still sometimes ignore my intuition. It makes me crazy, but it makes me really crazy when I do it. I just want to like slap myself upside the head when I do it. But my point is that the more you practice it, the greater access you have to insight and being able to trust yourself. And then you build that as a habit over time. And then when you're stressed, instead of, doing like he was saying, drinking more coffee or whatever thing you do, instead you go, oh, I feel stressed because I don't know what to do. I need some insight or information or guidance. Let me go deep within, get in alignment with my highest and best or my inner truth or wisdom, and use my intuition to really actually guide me in what I need to know.
I love it. It is such a gentler and more effective way for us it's just so much better. I just can't even say in many words how much better it is. So thank you so much again for being on our show. You are amazing. And how can people get in touch with you? Because you guys need to get in touch with this woman.
I am so easy to find. It's kind of ridiculous. So please find me on my website, simplespirit.com. It has all the information about my offers. I do have all kinds of offers, one-on-one, group, and some free stuff. I have a call coming up on March 20th, The Intuitive Entrepreneur. It's totally free. So if you go to my website, you'll find information about it, or you can just email me, my first name @simplespirit.com. I would love to connect with your viewers and be able to support them in their intuitive journey. That is my whole purpose on the planet.
Absolutely. And as a former teacher, I can highly recommend what you were saying about your nephew. If more parents did that, the kids would be doing so much better now. That would really, really help them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sho, again. And everybody, please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this message.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Andy, and on this week's Chronically Healthy Life-How hack, I like to talk about a topic that no one likes to think about or even know about. This particular condition affects about 85% of the world's population, and it can cause brain fog, it can cause unwanted weight gain, it can cause problems of gaining weight, losing weight. It can cause bloatiness, it can cause joint pain, it can cause skin conditions, it can cause bad vision, and it can cause all sorts of digestive problems. And if you haven't guessed it yet, we're talking about parasites. And how do we get parasites? There are ways that you get parasites that you might not even know about. If you have a cat or dog, like here, Patches is my prop today. And guess what? You may even come in, you're grabbing a parasite right from your cat or dog. And, a lot of people, they actually have roundworms and tapeworms. This is actually just a bucatini if you're asking. But tapeworms, they can get up to 10 feet inside your digestive system. Other ways you can get parasites, you have kids, they're not good with their hygiene, they're touching their face, they're not cleaning their hands after going to the restroom, or they're playing at the playground where other kids aren't all that hygienic. You have cats and dogs. If you clean litter boxes, if you eat steak, right? If you eat any type of meat that you're not eating well done, a lot of us like our meat medium rare, maybe sometimes leaning towards rare. Guess what? The high heat doesn't kill the parasites inside the meats. There are parasites in the body of the animals that we eat. And of course, my favorite, and everyone freaks out about this one when I talk about it, is sushi, right? In 1 square inch of sushi or raw fish, there are 10,000 parasite eggs in it. Did you hear me? 10,000 parasite eggs in each piece of sushi. That's about 1 inch in diameter. And usually, how many pieces of sushi do we eat when we go to sushi, especially if you go to those all-you-can-eat places? You eat a lot. And I just want to get people to realize if you have parasites, you need to do something about it, but most people don't know about it, right? So there are blood tests that you can do. There are a lot of ways to distinguish if you actually have parasites going in, even your inflammation markers, and we can help you with that. If you think you have parasites, you can reach out to us, and of course we got a couple of great parasite protocols that we use and we recommend everyone does every 3 months, because guess what? We're not going to stop eating. We're not going to stop loving our kids, our furry little kids, and and we're not going to stop eating sushi, right? So reach out to me if you want to figure out which of the blood labs are best to verify if you have parasites, and if you do have parasites, we can help you get rid of them. All right, so remember, these things can grow up to 10 feet long in your intestine, but hopefully we get rid of the parasites before it happens. We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years with energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids, the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 90%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. So first of all, if you can pull out a worm from your body that long, you got issues. So definitely call us. But other than that, how do you like Shoshanna's interview?
Every time she's back, and that's why we keep inviting her back, is she gives us so much insight or intuition, right, into helping decode what's going on in life. And today was really cool. I think I'm going to try that once we get off the show, and thank Christy for sharing, parts of her life and actually showing online how she got an answer from the 3 very different books.
Mhm.
And it gives you a message that will at least get you thinking about how to answer the question you're asking, right?
Yeah, for sure. I know they keep talking of this being woo-woo, and that's because it's something that we cannot actually know how to scientifically explain it. But if you look at the other way, 90% of our minds are subconscious.
Correct.
So there's 90% of your mind that you actually don't know how to read into it, or you don't understand it. So that's maybe just one way to patch into your subconscious mind that, we just can't explain it yet. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work.
I agree, and we're talking about it in the backstage as we're listening to the show. It's like, wow, this really taps into the power of attraction, right? Because we always talk about the power of attraction. You get more of the negative. You concentrate on the negative. You get more of the positive when you concentrate on the positive. Here you are. You have something that you can focus your mind on for asking a question, and guess what? That's going to open all sorts of possibilities because that's now your direction that you give in your mind, right?
Yeah, for sure. And when we were talking about stress earlier, right? And I know I overheard you talking to some other gentleman earlier about using a patch for stress.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, one of the patches that is really good that we have, of course, we're always talking about the X39 patch, and that is specifically to help you regenerate your stem cells, right? But there is one of the other patches that we love using when we go to sleep, and that's the Eon patch. And the Eon patch is great for lowering inflammation. But one of the other things that it does is it resets your hormones, and it can actually reset your parasympathetic system, right? Your rest and digest system, the system that you go into when you go into meditation, right? So a lot of times when me and Minna go to sleep, sometimes you catch me, I put it on when I'm traveling. I put some Facebook videos and stuff like that. You're putting it right on your third eye, or you're putting it right over your bridge of your nose if you're one of those that snore, which I am. It actually helps stop snoring. So if anything, if you have a spouse that's snoring, maybe that'd be a great way to help them sleep better while you're sleeping better because they're not snoring anymore, right? But it does really, if you have a monkey mind, and I have a monkey mind, when I'm talking about monkey mind, you'll have so many thoughts of thinking about all the things that happened during the day and then all the things you're going to do tomorrow. When you put that patch on, it chills you out, man, I tell you. And it's like, oh, okay, time to go to sleep, right? We'll worry about what we need to worry about the next day. So if you're one of those and you want to get you into the parasympathetic system, right, to just basically chill and relax, reach out to us. It's the Eon patch, and it's so easy to use. Just slap it on your forehead when you go to sleep, right?
Yeah. So what's gonna happen next week?
So next week we're gonna have a really special guest.
That
would be me, right? So to be honest, I have no idea what we're going to talk about yet, but we're just joking. Hey, you got so much information that you can entertain people with. So I'll figure something to say for next week.
Okay, so come back here and join us next Friday, 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes and this special episode and next week's episode on watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network or on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to know more about what we do, especially what he does, and how we can help you live a chronically healthy life, visit us on our website at chronicallyhealthylife.com. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions about our show, make your comments on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life, or email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
I'm Dr. Audrey Tang, a chartered psychologist, and on my show, Mental Health Matters, we take a deep dive into all things mental health and well-being with the experts. So join us at 8 a.m. PST on Thursdays on the Fresh Takes channel because Mental Health Matters on